Well, good morning and welcome to this special edition of Honest That Sports Talk. I'm your host, Earl Basden. Joining me is Gavin Manders. Manders, who has been playing international tennis, representing Bermuda at the Davis Cup, at the Island Games, as well as being former number one player locally. We're here to talk about what's next for Gavin Manders. Obviously, time always catches up with us
True.
throughout the years. So Gavin, what's new on the horizon for you?
Yeah, I mean, so for me, obviously, this summer was another successful one for the books. I mean, Davis Cup, obviously helping Rick lead these guys to a successful campaign, where it's the first time in history that we were able to stay up in Group Three. I was able, as a team, we made history. As an individual, I made history with, becoming the all-time wins leader. And obviously that was special for us to do that together because obviously, it's not really about personal accolades. But at the same time, like that for me is an accumulation of, I've been playing since 2004. I've played 15 years of Davis Cup for Bermuda. I've been representing Bermuda for actually 28 years from the first time that I represented Bermuda for tennis at 9 years old. So, becoming the all-time leader at Davis Cup was just, something for me that is a lifetime achievement. It's not about like one win and to do it with the young squad that we have and guys that I've helped mentor was special. And then for them to be the first players, because I mean, they held the weight of that week. I only played 3 doubles matches.
Mm.
So, the young guys are the ones that are really, putting in that time and putting in that work, which is why they're at the top of the game right now. So special for them for us to stay up in Group Three and for the future. Now we're a Group Three team, and not only are we a Group Three team, like those guys, Daniel and Trey, beat DR on that same trip. They didn't have their full squad. They had one guy that was rested, but that doesn't matter. We've never beat them in our history. So then you add on Island Games, got my 13th and 14th medals. I had my boys there with me, which was, quite arguably my, you know, the best thing that I've accomplished, or the best, the most memorable experience, I should say, outside of just winning, is being the flag bearer and having the boys walking with me down the streets of Guernsey with thousands and thousands and thousands of people. So this summer was just special. I ripped my pec muscle, which is just an issue that I've had through it. I ripped my bicep 2017. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty beat up, but pretty happy and pretty content with what I've done. So I mean, for me, I think it's time with international competition that it's time for me to pack it in.
Yeah. Now you're making this decision. You kind of made this decision some time ago, a couple of years ago, but it didn't turn out the way you thought it would it? Because you ended up coming back.
Yeah, I mean, well, just like I always do, I mean, I talk with my team. It's not about just me. I let them know that, kind of my desire to train. It's not about the plan. I still love to compete, but what it requires to play at this level is what people don't see. Which is why I wanted to come on with you first. Like, you've seen the work over the years. You've actually seen me at the beach, like doing my rituals before big matches, going, like, even when the hurricane was on, I think you was at the beach one day taking pictures, and I was out there before I was supposed to play Andy Bray. So like people don't really see the 5 o'clock to 4 o'clock morning runs. They just see wins, right? So I always speak with my team, and I told them, look, my desire to train's kind of going down. I'm thinking about kind of packing it in, and they were just like, no, no, we need you. We'll help you kind of gain that momentum back to come out. We'll make it more exciting for you. We want you out here with you. So, and that year I went undefeated, and we got promotion. So, but this one, same thing. I spoke with the team. I even spoke with Rick. I even did a month cleanse, so that like no drinking, no nothing, just so that this wasn't, because it's a big decision, right? Of this is something that I've been doing for a long time. I take pride. I've been ambassador for Bermuda, but the group that we're in now and the core team that we have, I just think it's time for me to look more towards the coaching side of things.
And earlier this year you did get your coaching badge, to be one of the highest ranking level coaches in Bermuda, when it comes to the elite guys. How much of your tennis life helped you gain that sort of certificate?
Yeah, I mean, it all plays within there. I made a decision back when I was in school that, you know, I don't want to be an accountant. I want to go this route, and the playing, and even my father and my stepmom, who was there at the time when I chose to go to Ball State and go a different route and not do accounting. They were there to financially support me and make sure that I was in a position. So it's all played into it. And I just, you know, cricket was a sport that I grew up playing, and all these other sports, but I had a passion for tennis, and I finally figured out that this could be, what I do for my living outside of just playing. And I realized that quite early. I've been coaching for a long time through my career. So yeah, the playing just gave me the love and the passion, but then, seeing and being a mentor and coaching, I mean, that's really why I do it at this point. So getting the coaching certification, I mean, it's just another notch on the belt. I mean, I'm doing the work. I just want to continue to grow so that, I can take my impact to scale, be more efficient on the court, be able to make more of an impact on each individual that I coach and that I mentor. So yeah, it was just another great experience that I can use to be more efficient, in my profession.
Now, talk us through. I mean, like you said, you've been representing Bermuda since you were 9 internationally. Um, Take us through what that was like at the 9-year-old to what it was like for the last time you stepped on the court internationally for Bermuda.
Yeah, I mean, back then we had the exchange thing going with Atlanta. We were going out there, and then it was like Kotak, doing some actually Kotak. Don't think it existed yet like that. It was like, I don't remember what the name was, but I
Right.
went to the camps, the Caribbean um, camps for like the elite players in the region, and was playing the 12 and under tournaments. And even back then, I think they had a couple 10 and under ones. They've changed that since then. Um, but yeah, I just remember just meeting all the people that some of them I'm still friends with.
Hmm.
Just truly, like, I believe like my experiences with tennis and traveling has really like molded me into the individual I am. So like I look at like all these years, yes, it was tennis and yes, it was competing, but like I tell people this all the time. Some people like it, some people don't, but I truly believe I've learned an exponential amount more through my travels with tennis than I did through my educational pathways. And the amount of people and life lessons and independence through traveling and all of those things just helped mold me. And then yeah, I mean, I didn't know that it was going to be my last year. I knew I was coming towards the end, but quite honestly, I still thought I mean, I do believe if I train, I have a couple years left under my belt. I just think that with where I am, I have my kids, my wife's held the fort down, my body's beat up. I have other things that I want to do, the energy that it requires to play at the level that we're at now. I think it's time for these young guys to carry this load and not not like have me to, like, for better words, protect them, but like whenever it's a big moment, Gavin's there to help. Well, now it's time for them to take that. They're ready. I know they are. I believe in them. So for me, it's not the end of the story. It's a new chapter.
Right.
And I'm cool with it. I've taken time. This is not like me and you have been talking behind the scenes just when we're gonna do this. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy and content, and I'm in a great place in life. So yeah, I'm just ready for whatever's next.
Yeah. Let's talk about that kind of change of guard because you went through it when you came back from school. You were the young kid on the block. Um, um, David Thomas was just behind you. Somebody is behind you. We had a few youngsters, Jacob and the like. But then there was a gap. There was, when I say a gap, there was the older guys, the Andy Brays and the older guys that were playing. Now it's kind of changed. You're the kind of older guy, and here comes the Treys and the um Tariqs, and so talk about that transition, how you felt when it was your turn to come through, and now that you see these guys coming through, how you feel.
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, it's a lot different than when I came through because all the players that I went up against really had nothing to do with my development. All
Mm,
these guys that are coming up, I've been heavily a part of their development. So, like, I've done like a board on my career. I did that through this process to make sure I was making the right decision. I have on there helping Trey break my record as a one of my accomplishments. So
mm,
he broke my youngest player record. I was there. I was supposed to play that day. He played because I had a little bit of come to find I had a torn bicep. So them guys coming through has been a beautiful thing. Tariq's obviously almost like a son to me. So Daniel, I've coached since he was like 5. So I think it's a bit different, but it's still from the competitive side. Obviously, there was that where I'm got to play them, and I'm a little bit older, and I'm every time I'm playing them, I'm either got a damn tweak calf or just all a part of the the aging, and I feel like I've taken pretty good care of my body, but those guys are here to stay. They're on a beautiful path. I'm just happy to be a part of you know their their development. So for me, it's refreshing. Like, I mean, me and you had spoke about a few of the tournaments where like they were big tournaments, and uh, the losing Tariq in the final or something. That's a win for me.
mm.
You know
Right.
what I mean? That's a win, and because my student is beating me. So if for me in my career is about creating more people and creating professionals that do better than me. If not, I've failed. So
Right.
yeah, I just think it's beautiful, and it's a part of evolution. It's time, and it's their time, just like it was my time. I think some guys hold on too long. I think some guys
Mm.
go too soon. But for me personally, I feel good within myself with the decision, and I'm ready to continue to help them in their development. But give myself a bit more of a different perspective and a different look and a different approach.
Yeah. Yeah. You talk a lot about. You were mentioning the chart, in which you pencil you penned out over your career and who the guys that you helped and the accomplishments and so forth. But what would you consider outside of what you just mentioned, where you're having your kids there at the Island Games, they got a chance to walk out with you at the opening ceremony and so forth. But what would you consider, proud moments? Obviously, you talked a lot about Sam Mabry and what he was able to help you get through, as a youngster playing the sport, teaching you so many different things of the values of the game itself and along with life. So what would you say was one of the major accomplishments for you?
I mean, that's tricky. I mean, I've had so many. Um, I could list off a few. I wouldn't say there's no number one, other than like I said, walking with the boys and being a flag bearer. I think honestly at this point, that kind of takes the number one spot. But being there on court with Tariq for his first win, being there, getting my old time wins. Actually, the commitment award on court with a lot of the guys that have been there with me all through the years. Like, we're all around the same age. We've been out here grinding because, you know, whatever it is, records and rankings and all these different things, what it takes to play like 15 years of international competition,
Hmm.
only those who have done it know, you know. So I would say getting the commitment award this year in Paraguay with those guys by my side and then being able to talk with them after. Um, El Salvador undefeated in singles, with Jacob there with me, who was a big part of my training partner. Coaching Chris Weeks at Island Games this year, because Chris has been like one of my staple training partners for a long time. Without him, I wouldn't even have had the number one spot for as long. And then I got to sit on the court at Island Games because he's put in so much work, and sit with him and coach him through a match in a Davis Cup format there. So um, outside of that, just being a part of these younger guys, being there with Daniel, playing the number one player in the world in juniors. But Mabry like just taught me how to, really look at these things with a more holistic approach. And after that, like, it wasn't really about the wins and stuff. It was more about, who you're sharing it with, how you do it, the impact that you're making, using these achievements and accolades and your personality and your skill sets. So, I owe him, the majority of my career. I mean, my father as well, great role model. Manders family breeds, champion mindset. So I really owe a lot. My nana was the matriarch of all this. So, like, sharing some of the moments with them, like when she was there at I won Athlete of the Year. I still have a picture of the joy on her face. You could write an
Mm.
essay on that. So those are the things I remember more now. Looking back, my mom, and she was really like my biggest emotional support. Like when I went through my downs, because, like, athletes go through ups and downs. It's not all about like
Mhm.
praises. It's not all parties and rainbows and butterflies while you're, winning and stuff. I mean, the work that it takes, you're sacrificing a lot. It comes with baggage. And my mom was the one, who was there for me to make sure that, I was okay while I worked through all that process. So, like, those are the things at this point that, like, I remember the most. I don't even remember the matches as much anymore, other than big ones, like playing 2 miles up in the sky. The longest match in Davis Cup history was played 2 miles in the sky. I don't think anyone could really
Mm.
imagine how much pain that I went through that day to play 3 hours and 13 minutes, 2 miles up in the
Right.
sky in La Paz, Bolivia. I mean, people. There was a lady who almost fainted when the airplane doors opened, let alone
Mm.
playing 3 hours. So, I'm just blessed to have had all this and had a lot of people to support me. Rick as the coach, for the latter part of my career, Beanie as the coach for the beginning. So the memories with the boys is what I remember the most, and those things more than, um, yeah, some of like the just moments on court per se.
Mm. Mhm. Um, we you briefly touched on him. Someone like um, Mabry, um, and me personally, I saw how he was able to get into you, get through to you. Always, and we saw the same thing whenever he was around youngsters. It just grew on him to teach the game. Um, what would you say was the most important thing he taught you about tennis itself?
The most important thing that he taught me about tennis itself. Well, one, that, I mean, tennis is just life. And me and his relationship was, look, I need to get you, we used to call it, I want you to sit in the seat. So
Hmm.
if I could get in the seat, in from his perspective, it was the seat of creation. From my perspective at that time, with my lack of knowledge then, was like the seat of being balanced on the court. And he
Hmm.
knew if he could get me in a balanced state within myself, because at the end of the day, sports is life, and life, like, you have to know who you are truly in, like, and that's what you've seen me over the years through these competitions. I always know who I am and what I'm doing out there. Whether
Hmm.
somebody beats me or not is irrelevant, as long as I know and I sit in the seat and I play from a balanced position. And that's what he taught me the most, I think, was, you know, tennis is life, life is tennis. And if you go out there in the most balanced spot, um, that's the highest percentage chance you have of winning. And he didn't come to a lot of my matches because he had different ways of he would sit off playing the drum, the heartbeat, and those type of things that people would think, oh, well, what the fuck is, I mean, sorry for the language, what is that? But me and his relationship was beyond the court. I mean, he helped me write my mom's, um, the letter I wrote to her for her funeral. Like, we were
Hmm.
deeper than tennis. So
Right.
the biggest lesson I got from him was that tennis was just a game, and it really was life. And out on the court, this is what he used to always say: it's even playing field, unlike life where things are created unequally across the board, for different people. and nobody can lie on the court because your court's the same size as my court, the net's the same height, the ball's the same. Now you got to come out here and go to war with me. And he knew that he had a lion that, if was balanced and didn't let the ego get in the way, or didn't, like go too much for the kill because I was just being too aggressive and I stayed within myself, there was nobody that could touch me. So it was always get Gavin balanced to the court. He would do the rest. And then I'd just come back to him after, and with usually my more playful self by then, and he would, just deal with me as much as possible. And over the years, I got more mature. So, I wouldn't you see me, as soon as I get those wins, all the work that I've been in, I'm going with the boys, and then it became get them wins, going to the family, so
Right.
things have evolved, but there would be no Gavin Manders. There will be no old time wins. There will be none of that within tennis without what he did within my career. And that goes for my father and my mother for that matter. But within tennis, what he taught me, which is what I instill in, the Tariqs and these next guys, when you're on the court, if you truly know who you are, this is any sport, you truly know who you are when you're out there, and you know that you're putting your all in and you're putting it in from a balanced position. That is all you can do. From there, they're either better than you or you're better than them. And that's why I've been able to come out of a lot of situations. Is no panic. You find pleasure and pressure, and you be yourself.
Mm. Yeah, I'm glad you said family because, and you've downplayed a little bit, what your wife has been able to do for you to help you in your career must be something special because when you look at it, it's not just the sacrifice that you make, it's the sacrifice that the family makes, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, she's been with me. I mean, we've been um, not officially together, but like dating for 20 years at this point, actually 20 years exactly. So she's been there when I was in college. She's seen a lot of the ups and downs. Man, I quit tennis. Then moving into having kids, and I put in a lot of the work, which is why I created my own business, so I could make my own schedule and make sure that I'm there for the family. But yeah, she's a staple at the house. She makes sure that things are held down when I need to go and do what I need to do. And with every king, there's a queen back there that's making sure that things are happening how they should happen. She's definitely been a rock throughout a lot of stuff, because again, it's the people that you have behind the scenes that are helping you through your ups and downs through this journey. Like, it's not all like ups. I mean, I could win a tournament and still not be up. I mean, we've seen that. I think it's called like Glory of Gold or something. There's a documentary
Mm.
about all them guys that their struggles. I've had that, and she's been there through that, and she's been able to be with me with the downs and be with the ups, and now we have a beautiful family together. And the boys love tennis, and I always wanted them to see me play. And I honestly think that that experience with them this summer might have been the thing that allowed me to retire too, because I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, you know. And yeah, she's definitely been the rock behind the scenes, and I've been blessed to have her.
Yeah. Not well, you're retiring from playing the sport of tennis internationally, but then now you step into some big shoes because the coaching side is just as vital, and you've helped develop a lot of these young men already. It's just a matter of helping them to fine tune themselves for the international stage on a regular basis, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, these guys. I mean, Daniel's out at ASU, Trey's at Wilmington, Tariq's here with me. Then you have the James Finnegan figuring out he's in the real world now working, so he needs to find that balance. You got Chris Weeks, who really has been a staple. He may look like he may be older within age, but he's young within his tennis.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, for me, it's time for them to swim in the deep end on their own. No life jackets, none of that type of stuff. And I'll be there to help. I don't know in what role yet. This is so new. Just figuring out what's next. I obviously definitely, have my level two. I actually it's going to be. I have my level two in which in addition, they kind of work together, but that's the Professional Tennis Registry in the U.S. So I'm just ready to give them that side where now I'm not coming as the captain of the team as a player. Now I'm coming from just the coaching perspective. And it gives me a bit wider view and a bit more detailed look at what they're doing and how to help them be better.
Mm. Well, Gavin, I want to say a job well done internationally and locally. With the sport of tennis, what you've been able to accomplish, what you've been able to help others go through and get over. Somebody was there for you. You're there for someone else, and I think that's the mentorship of someone like Sam, who would always instill in that, and he was always a reasonable guy. So. I think that a lot of him is rubbed off on you in the sport. That's where the country will grow, and better for Bermuda itself. So congratulations on an international career. Hey, say at times when you have to call it, but you're calling it under your terms.
Yeah, man, I have no sadness at all. I mean, like I said, I took the time. I've thought about it. I spoke with all my guys. And just like I said, when Mabry and me used to sit off in any decision that's made, you sit down and you take the time for yourself and you make something within yourself. Nobody else can make any decision for you. And yeah, I honestly, the reason I know it's the right, because I feel no way other than happiness that, I've had this opportunity. Like you said, for me, it's not the end. This is the beginning of more. I have more time to make a bigger impact on those around me. My mom did that. She showed me that all her life. Mabry did that. My dad did that as well, and still does that to this day. A lot of the Manders family do that. Is something that has been bred within us to make sure that we help that next generation. And now I have more time to do that. I have a little more time for my wife and my kids. I mean, obviously, there's other things that will be coming in the coming out within towards the end of this year of things that I'll be doing to fill. For now, happy, gonna enjoy it, celebrate a little bit of a successful journey, and more is more the next chapter than the end of a book. So yeah, just appreciate you. That's why there's no one that's been to more of my matches other than maybe Randy Bean, because in my earlier years, I mean, that he used to be at all my matches. And so I definitely appreciate you and all the work that you do. So being on here to let you know that this is the time. It all makes sense to me, and I think Mabry would agree.
Yeah. Well, again, congratulations. Job well done. We'll see you on the sidelines of the courts from here on in, internationally.
Sure.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Have a good day, man.
Emma, you too.